嗱，上一條片咧就講到咧，英國咧喺啱啱呢個 Spring 嘅 Budget 裏面咧，就做一個好大嘅稅改，一個沿用咗225年嘅一個 domicile， 一個英國居籍嘅稅例改變喎。咁所以咧，我哋事不宜遲咧，就邀請咗我哋嘅英國嘅 partner 啦、稅務同埋信託顧問啦，阿 Max 啦，同大家分享下咧新呢個稅例之下咧有啲咩改變，同埋對大家有啲咩嘅影響。咁啊，唔想錯過任何資訊咧，記住 subscribe 咗呢個 channel 先啦。嗱，稅務嘅資訊咧，大家用起上嚟都會唔一樣。咁如果要做稅務嘅 planning 嘅時候咧，記住揾翻你嘅稅務顧問，或者都可以揾我哋幫手嘅。咁我哋先問咧阿 Max 第一個問題啦，就係今次嘅 Spring Budget 咧，對於稅務上面有啲咩大嘅唔同，有啲咩大嘅改革咧？
Thanks for this opportunity to come and share with everyone about the big change in the UK. I've been practicing for nearly 16 years in the UK, and this is one of the biggest changes ever happened to my professional career, and also it's very big for the quite a lot of high net worth clients. So basically, this tax changes actually is planned long time ago because the non-dom tax regime has been with UK for more than a decade. It has been used for many high net worth individuals migrating from other parts of the world to the UK. It's been used very well, and it has been helping those clients to save billions of pounds in terms of tax. So the end result is that the non-dom tax regime has been fully kind of replaced by a new foreign income and gain regime from the next tax year, which is starting from the 6th of April 2025. For most of the people, disadvantage to them. However, it's not all about that. There are some good stuff as well, at least for the first 4 years. So let's look at the new rules, what happens to it. So when the individual has been a non-UK resident for the period of 10 consecutive tax years, they can start to qualify for the new tax regime, which lasts for 4 years for their foreign income and gains. The new rule kicks in on the 6th of April 2025, and for the first 4 years, it's actually the rules is much better. If you guys remember the old rules related to the remittance basis and the non-dom as well, the rule works like if you have offshore income and gains which are not remitted into the UK, then it is basically free from UK tax. However, if the clients actually remit funds into the UK, it will still be taxed. So if you compare the first 4 years, the new rules is actually a bit better because the new rule actually works like in the first 4 years you have remitted funds into the UK, they will still be free of tax. Similar to the rules in Portugal, Spain, and also in Switzerland. During the first 4 years of the UK residence, considering that the client has been a non-UK resident for at least 10 years consecutively previously, these individuals can opt to be exempt from UK tax on their foreign income and gains, and when they bring that into the UK. So this rules is much better in that sense. We had lots of cases previously under the old rules that even if they have a lot of funds outside of the UK, for example in Hong Kong, they cannot bring them into the UK because the income and gains within the mixed fund is huge. So we have the situation is that the client are stuck. Even if they have the remittance basis previously, it's difficult for them to bring funds in because they are going to be taxed, sometimes 20%, sometimes 45%. That's a key change. So anyone who has been a tax resident in the UK for more than 4 years will pay tax on their worldwide income and gains. That's when the 4 years runs out. Unfortunately, the rules will be kind of less favorable to high net worth moving into the UK after the 4 years.
喺新嘅稅務條例之下咧，究竟有冇一個 transitional period？ 中間有啲咩措施咧係我哋可以要留意或者小心㗎？
And there will be a transitional period in between. So the individuals have been in the UK less than 4 years. Will continue to use the new rules for the remainder period of the 4 years. So we recently have a lot of inquiries on that. There are clients that have been standing in the UK for 1 to 3 years in the past, and they can still utilize the remaining period of the 4 years to plan their tax. For example, if they have 2 years left, they can start to thinking about remitting all the funds they have outside of UK into the UK. for either for personal spending or buying properties or for other investments. So that is pretty good for those who have spent less than 4 years in the UK so far.
新嘅預算案咧，對於一直用緊一個叫做 remittance basis 啦匯入制嘅客戶咧，其實好大嘅影響。可唔可以同大家分享下咧，有啲咩嘅安排可以做得到咧？
So for those who are currently using the remittance basis, there is also very good policy there to rebase all the assets back to the value of April 2019. For example, someone has investment portfolio which has grown in value in the last few years. They can dispose of those investments. So any gains from the very long past to 5th of April 2019 will be free from tax. So any kind of gains rising afterwards will be subject to tax. So anyone who has a big increase in the past can use this to rebase the cost of their investments. Also, during the transitional period, there will be a time to bring in the untaxed foreign income and gains previously at 12%. So this is also a good way of remitting further funds. If you think about the normal income tax rate is from 20% to 40% and then to 45%. And the capital gains is from 10% to 20% to 28%. If you compare those, and 12% is actually a pretty good rate. The other thing is that at the moment, for the current tax year, the old rule will still apply. So there are still some planning needs to be done. For example, if you want to segregate the clean capital, you still have to do that during this year. The reason for that is that you can probably bring some more funds during the next year if you do some kind of proper planning. So at the moment, you have to consider the old rules and the new rules all together. So this is something for those people who are still using under the remittance basis.
喺新嘅稅務條例之下咧，甚至係信託咧都會俾人收稅喎。究竟有啲咩嘅影響咧？
The previous protection of the future income and gains arises within the trust will be removed for all kind of clients, including the non-domiciled clients as well. But the message is that we have other ways of planning for them. For example, certain trusts that's been set up between now and 6th of April 2025 will still be able to free from tax in terms of the income and gains accruing over the years. So there are still some further scope for planning, but it's not a simple trust. So we need to look at the circumstances on case-by-case basis.
除咗信託之外啦，一啲我哋常用嘅 family investment company 啦，或者啲基金嘅結構啦，都可以有稅務優勢。其實詳細係點嘅咧？
And the other planning tool available is basically the family investment company, which has been used for many years. For those who are thinking of staying in the UK for the long term, they can start to set up family investment companies in the UK, which will be also quite tax efficient. All these structures reducing the tax cost, but depending on each individual cases, it might not reduce the tax to zero.
嗱，咁遺產稅率啦，成40% 啦，咁喺今次嘅 budget 裏面咧，都好似有影響喎，可唔可以同大家分享下？
The plan at the moment from the government is making the UK tax resident for more than 10 years to be subject to inheritance tax on their worldwide assets. But however, this will still needs to be rolled out further. We haven't seen the detailed plan yet. And if you currently don't have a trust, we strongly advise you to consider establishing one, especially before the 6th of April 2025. So the best planning phase is from now.
喺預算案裏面啦，除咗頭先提及到嘅遺產稅啦，同埋咧嗰個叫 CGT 或者 income tax 之外咧，其實都有其他嘅改變，包括係國民保健計劃啦、企業稅啦，同埋酒稅等等。可唔可以都同我哋一次過分享下咧？
So there are some other minor changes, as always. So the Chancellor was trying to reduce the national insurance, and now the Class 1 has been reduced from 10 to 8%. And for Class 4 national insurance, it will be reduced from 9% to 6%. If you're thinking about setting up a company, for example, in the UK, it's pretty much not affected. It's only the personal side of things you need to think about how to deal with the income and gains outside of the UK. So in terms of the corporate side of things, the UK is still quite competitive. The government has better physical resources. They probably are aiming to reduce tax in the long term to be more competitive, especially for these high-tech industries. And some other key points is that, for example, the VAT registration thresholds are going to rise from 85,000 to 90,000, and there are some changes for the child care as well. And also in some industries, for example, the vaping products will be impacted and the alcohol duty will rise as well. There are still a range of changes specific for certain industries.
嗱，咁最後一條問題啦，就係香港人好擔心嘅關於一啲稅務啊、物業嘅稅款。咁今次有減稅嘅措施喎，可唔可以同我哋講多啲呢？
On the properties, there are a few changes. The first thing is that the higher rate of capital gains tax on residential properties will fall from 28 to 24%. So how basically helping the landlords who are selling their properties. One of the bad news is that the furnished holiday lettings will be gone. It used to enjoy a lot of tax breaks. For example, it can be accounted as income for pension contribution, and you can claim capital allowances on that, and there are a lot of deduction available for those. From the next tax year, which starts from the 6th of April 2025, the traditional furnished holiday lettings will be the same as any other residential properties when they are taxed. The other one is that the multiple dwellings relief will be abolished. There are a lot of clients been asking about whether they can still use the commercial rates if they buy six properties or more in one single transaction. To clarify that, the commercial rate is still in place. It's still operational, so don't worry about that.
嗱，聽咗咁多啦，我哋英國稅務專家 Max 啦，同大家分享嘅資訊咧，相信大家對於新嘅預算案咧已經了解多咗好多啦。咁亦都正如佢所講啦，大家應該咧喺4月之前盡早咧去了解同埋作出相應嘅安排。咁嚟緊咧，我哋預算咧就係好多嘅預算案裡面嘅細則咧都會嚟緊會公佈，我哋都會喺呢個 channel 咧同大家分享嘅。如果唔想 miss 咗呢啲重要嘅資訊嘅話咧，就記住 subscribe 咗我哋呢個 channel 先啦。